Nvidia completely changed the AI market today with the overall GTC keynote. Now, I've always believed that Nvidia has had a massive lead against its competitors, but I'm going to say after today's keynote, that lead is actually a lot wider than I originally thought. And it doesn't look good for anybody else in the AI space or any ASIC solution out there, as I do believe Nvidia is going to continue to dominate. Now, in today's episode, what I want to do is the following. First, I want to take a closer look at the three major things that I think every NVIDIA investor should know. So let's take a closer look in today's episode.
I want to thank The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video, and check out fool.com/Jose for the 10 best stocks to buy now. With that link, you get a promotional offer for their subscription service. Now, let's continue with today's episode.
All right. So unfortunately, a lot of us kind of look at NVIDIA on a daily basis. NVIDIA stock was down roughly 3% after the event. Now, I mentioned this at the beginning of my other videos that I could care less what happens to NVIDIA in the short term of things. What I am going to be curious about is how this company is progressing in the long term of things. And as the long term of things, I believe today's keynote opened up the road for NVIDIA to be a way bigger company than it is right now. Now, if we look at an overview of GTC, it was pretty much divided into these five things: Blackwell production, some form of improvements with software solutions, more discussions of the data center market, AI infrastructure for the enterprise space, and AI infrastructure for robotics. Now, the last two are pretty cool, but I believe the big meat for the moment is going to be focused on the first three. So first, we kind of saw this pretty cool chart from NVIDIA. And one thing that I want to say, sometimes NVIDIA is they just give you numbers, but maybe I would love a little bit more data. But the top four US cloud service providers, that's your Amazon, your Microsoft, your Google, and your Oracle. In 2024, they had purchased, or for their Hopper GPU, which came out in 2024, there was about 1.3 million shipped, right? Or ordered. We can see based on this graph here that there was actually 3.6 million Blackwell GPUs shipped so far. And the way they kind of talk about Blackwell GPUs, we're going to see they're changing the term GPU, but there are two GPUs per chip. So if we look at Blackwell chip, the Blackwell chip would have been closer to 1.8 million. But regardless, we can see that Blackwell has way more demand than Hopper did. Now, another amazing kind of presentation was kind of the look at capital expenditure. And if you are an NVIDIA investor, this is what you like to see. So these are not projections based on NVIDIA. These are projections by a company called Del Oro. And we can see data center CapEx by 2028 is expected to achieve over $1 trillion per year. And we can see how 2024 is kind of growing. And the market is sometimes weird. I don't really look at this as $1 trillion being an absolute number. I think how investors should look at this is the market right now does believe that data center capital expenditure is going to continue to grow at some strong levels within the next few years. And NVIDIA has much of that data center revenue to grow, right? It's only still a portion of that capital expenditure. So this was really good for overall NVIDIA investors. We also got further information about their yearly roadmap, right? So we knew about Blackwell Ultra, and that's what we were kind of discussed, one of the main products we discussed today. But we also got way more information about the Rubin platform. Now we know what the Rubin Ultra is going to be. The Rubin Ultra, I think, is going to be the destroyer of any competition. And anyone developing a chip right now to kind of have it ready a year or 2 years from now, in my opinion, is just wasting their time with the Rubin Ultra, having such amazing potential with it. But we learned a little bit more about the Rubin. We learned about kind of the networking solutions, and some of these are some of the topics we're going to discuss later on. But we also learned about the architecture after that. So just a quick reminder, Blackwell Ultra, that's coming out second half of this year. Rubin Vanilla is going to come out second half of 2026. Rubin Ultra is going to come out second half of 2027. Feynman is going to come out second half of 2028. Now, 2028 is still about 3 years away from now. We still have to go through three different products before then. So a lot can change. But overall, what I'm really excited is that Rubin Ultra in 2027. Now, we get to see some of the improvements. So the big product today was the Blackwell Ultra NVL72. And again, second half of 2025. And versus the Grace Blackwell 200, which is the vanilla Grace Blackwell, this is going to be about 50% better in forms of performance. Now, one thing I do want you to know is NVIDIA for the upcoming platform, the Vera Rubin platform, it is completely changing how it distinguishes a GPU. So right now, the Blackwell Ultra is two GPUs kind of stitched together, right? So you can kind of see them. One GPU is right here. The other GPU is right here. So this is one Blackwell Ultra. The Blackwell Ultra chip pretty much has two GPUs. But the way the Blackwell platform was named is even though it has two GPU dies, this is considered one GPU. So one GPU, this is why it's called the Blackwell Ultra NVL72 has 72 Blackwell Ultra chips. But this is important, and hopefully I'm not boring you. If this was kind of based on GPU dies, this would have actually been called Blackwell Ultra NVL 144. Because remember, each Blackwell chip has two GPU dies. Now, this is very important because that naming is going to change in the future. And there is a reason why NVIDIA is doing it, and it makes perfect sense as the GPUs can come in various packaging. But coming in for Vera Rubin, the second half of 2026, this is going to be the NVL 144. There are still going to be only 72 Rubin chips, but now it's not, the Rubin is not a GPU. The Rubin is a chip. The Rubin has two GPUs within itself. The great thing about this one is this is going to actually be 3 times more performance than the GB300 with the same amount of GPU dies, right? Remember, because the GB300 is 72, but it's really supposed to be 144 if you're looking at the GPU dies. So right off the bat, we can see that the Vera Rubin is going to provide amazing performance just on its own. And this is actually going to be really great. I'm very excited for the Vera Rubin, but the Rubin Ultra, which is coming out in the second half of 2027, is going to be the NVL 576. So this is going to be 576 GPUs tied with each other, having one unified memory, one unified performance, which is going to be amazing. And this is one of the reasons the Blackwell is doing great is because time of inference is needed, and having that unified GPU or kind of 70 GPUs acting as one is super powerful. I can only imagine how powerful something like this would be. So this is about 14 times faster than the GB300. If you do quick math though, this is about 4 times bigger than the NVL 144. 3.3 times 4 is going to lead you to about 13 point something. So the big difference between the Rubin Ultra is the scaling of it into having massive GPUs in one rack. And this is how NVIDIA is kind of progressing. So overall, I'm pretty excited about the platform here. I'm pretty excited about the market. So this is kind of the first topic I wanted to take a closer look at. The second topic, I believe, is even more important. So NVIDIA is known to be kind of the leader in the AI space, and a few reasons. They are pretty much a leader in chip design. They are a leader in software design and software solutions. They are a leader, a kind of a system integration. So in the first part, we kind of saw more kind of the chip design side. Now here, we're going to learn more about the software side. And one thing that they mentioned or discussed or released was NVIDIA Dynamo, which NVIDIA Dynamo, and here we can kind of zoom in, is an open source inference software for accelerating and scaling AI reasoning models in AI factories at the lowest cost with the highest efficiencies. Now, one thing that NVIDIA has created is kind of this orchestration, the ability where NVIDIA is already optimizing it for you so you can kind of have that GPU working as much as possible. Now, NVIDIA kind of showcased that with this kind of Dynamo performance, the Hopper has actually seen a nice improvement. So not only do your old products get improvements, but here we can kind of even see that the Blackwell with Dynamo and without Dynamo also with Dynamo sees a nice growth opportunity as well. So first, we can see that Dynamo is that software solution that is going to allow NVIDIA to continue to hold a massive moat. Now, the third thing I want to take a closer look at, remember the first were kind of the chip design. The second was kind of the software design. And now the third one is kind of NVIDIA being this integrated system. And NVIDIA is trying to do so many things at once. It's trying to pack in as much in one server or one rack. And then the reason it's trying to do that is because then it can also scale out dramatically and build these massive, massive AI factories. Now, these massive factories, though, they are pretty power constrained. You have to find ways to reduce that power for various reasons, right? To reduce that power, you're going to help ease some of the capacity constraints in your customers, which, again, I mentioned is power constraint. The second thing is maybe you keep the same, by reducing the power of maybe other components, it gives the customer the ability to say, hey, look, you actually saved us more energy by going this way. Because we have extra energy from the energy you saved us, we can buy even more and more GPUs. So overall, increasing the TCO that NVIDIA provides to its customers. And the way that they are doing it here is with what they call Spectrum X Photonics. So NVIDIA today unveiled NVIDIA Spectrum X and NVIDIA Quantum X silicon photonics networking switches, which enable AI factories to connect millions of GPUs across sites while drastically reducing energy consumption and operational cost. And one of the main reasons that it helps reduce power costs, and you kind of see all the other abilities here, but one of the main reasons it reduces cost is it's replacing pluggable transistors with silicon photonics on the same package. So some of you might be wondering, Jose, what are optical transceivers? So optical transceivers are, and Jensen kind of explained it during the keynote, you have fiber optics, and optics kind of sending information. But to kind of really get that information and understand it, it has to be converted into electricity. And Jensen mentioned that in certain scenarios, you have about 6 of these transceivers per GPU. So if he even mentioned some of these are about $1,000 when you buy them in bulk. So that's an extra $6,000 that you spend per GPU because you need to buy these transceivers. And these transceivers also take up energy. So he gave the example of about 30 watts per transceivers. If you multiply that by 6, almost 180 watts. That gives that customer, now they have more money to save. They have more power available to them, so they can go and make and buy more GPUs. So this is actually pretty impressive. They did kind of announce some of the great partners that they're working with, and this is all thanks to TSMC's advanced packaging solutions and TSMC's kind of manufacturing side. And they kind of list a few players that are going to be helping them out in this space. So I think this is going to allow for us to see those million GPU clusters, and NVIDIA is going in that direction. And it's also helping customers reduce the amount of power of other solutions, so you can increase the amount of GPUs you buy, and you can increase the amount of performance that you can provide in like a 1 gigawatt data center or so, right? So that's the most important. No matter what, data centers are pretty much limited by power. So would you rather buy NVIDIA GPUs that you know will give you the best performance because they help you out with other things and allow you to build even more and more GPUs within there, or kind of focus on an ASIC solution that might not be programmable, might not be that good next year or 2 years from now, as NVIDIA is going to continue to innovate and grow at rapid levels. So massive reasons to be long in NVIDIA, in my opinion. And again, the more I think about it, the more worried I get about any ASIC player or any other players in the AI space. Now, there's going to be market for them for sure, and there's going to be revenue, but I don't think anyone is going to be taking much market share from NVIDIA.